The Ford Mustang GT is an incredibly fun drive. It's powered by the 5-liter Coyote V8 engine. It's available as either a regular fastback or you can get the ragtop convertible, and there are a number of great features available. You're only going to find the gas versions of the Mustang rear-wheel drive. If you want all-wheel drive, look at the Mach-E, which gives you an excellent amount of power too. But the responsiveness that you get from this car is amazing. Now here's the thing, this one, it also has the MagneRide system, so it helps to reduce the overall body roll. I mean, you can feel it when you take those harder corners. And if we do a 180 here, back up to speed. That's so nice. Beautiful. Handling is excellent inside the car. Back up to speed is good. And the sound, I mean, I keep on hammering that home. The sound inside of this car is excellent. This one has the 60th anniversary edition. There are a few unique wheel options that are available, and I absolutely love blue. So to see these cool blue highlights, not just throughout the wheel itself, but throughout the badges, the grille, and the rear end, I absolutely love it. This one has the GT Performance Pack and the MagneRide damping system. MagneRide, I would say, is probably overkill for the majority of people if you're not going to track your car, because the MagneRide system, magnetic particles that sit in the suspension system. So as the vehicle recognizes harder turns left or right, it's going to essentially stiffen those up. So it helps to reduce your overall body roll. So if you're not going to track the car, you probably won't really notice a difference. That's one thing you could probably skip. You could always do it aftermarket if you really wanted to. But the GT Performance Pack gives you some pretty cool options. You're going to find Brembo brakes. There's a hand drift brake rather than the regular toggle switch. You're going to find heavy-duty springs. There's a K-brace, strut brace, a Torsen differential, and then there's also unique tuning to the chassis, stability, EPAS, and ABS, along with an upsized rear sway bar. So if you want to have a little bit more fun and you're kind of contemplating some performance upgrades, the Performance Pack is something you might want to look at. You're going to find LED headlamps inside of every trim level of the Mustang. And the sequential turn lights inside of the ride, they look good during the day. They look excellent at nighttime. And walking up to the car at night, there's also puddle lamps along the sides. So you get that pony welcoming you to your car. It's just a really nice touch. There's not much from a technology perspective in the front end, so you're not going to find the forward park sensing system in any trim level of the car, but there are some functional things like that hood scoop and then the splitter along the front. And since this is the 60th anniversary edition, there are some beautiful blue pockets along the outer parts of this glossy black grille. Underneath the hood of the Mustang, there are two different engine choices that are available. So you've either got the 2.3-liter turbocharged engine, so the EcoBoost, and then there's the Coyote 5-liter V8. The Coyote 5-liter has a few different power outputs depending on the configuration that you've gone for. The Dark Horse is going to give you 500 horsepower, but when you look at just the regular 5-liter, it's 480 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque. But when you go for the active valve exhaust system, that's going to push you up to 486 horsepower and 418 pound-feet of torque instead. So I personally would recommend looking at the active valve exhaust system just because it sounds way better in comparison when you look at just the regular exhaust. That's the one upgrade I would say absolutely look at. But let's get ourselves back up to highway speed here, and we'll go in 3, 2, and... It's so good. Oh, it's so incredibly good. Like you literally cannot beat that Coyote 5-liter growl. It is such a beautiful sound. And especially as you get into the active valve system where you can open it up. So you get into the sport mode or the track or the drag mode, and it just opens up those butterfly valves, and it just sounds so good in comparison to just the regular modes. I love it. Yeah, this cluster screen setup is pretty cool too. I like that you've got the flexibility of being able to customize that out to something a little bit more unique. So if you want something different, you've got that available. Oh, I love the sound. Underneath the hood here, you've got a beautiful setup. There's a tiny little engine cover and then a little strut brace over top. If you're doing some work yourself, you can easily change your oil. And then, if you're keeping things simple, you can easily top up your wiper fluid. The manufacturer's warranty is pretty industry standard, 3-year basic, 5-year powertrain with the option of increasing your warranty at time of purchase. But just do yourself a favor, regularly scheduled maintenance, regular oil changes. These things are performance engines. Even if you just look at the EcoBoost, you ideally want to change oil 6,000 to 8,000 kilometers. So you're looking at every 5,000 miles, I would say at the very most, depending on how you drive. Because if you're more of an aggressive driver, you're going to want to take care of this car a little bit more. So that means things like changing spark plugs, maybe a little bit more frequently, especially in the 2.3 liter, but changing your oil a little bit more frequently too to get the best possible life you can out of this ride. You're going to find sequential LED taillights inside of this car, and the taillights, daytime, nighttime, look great. From a technology perspective, there's the option for the reverse park sensing system inside of the car. And since this is the GT, you're looking at quad tip exhaust. Now, there's one thing about this car that I would recommend. It doesn't matter if you're in the 2.3 liter EcoBoost or the Coyote 5 liter V8. And that's the active valve exhaust system. I highly recommend you look at that system. And the reason why is because there's nothing even remotely close to it available aftermarket. So you do have to get it right from Ford directly. But it essentially opens and closes the butterfly valves inside of the exhaust so it can change up the tune. It sounds so incredibly good. And if you've got pesky neighbors, the active valve system even lets you set up a quiet start. So early morning, if you're leaving, the car will start up. It'll still be a little loud, but it'll be way less noisy in comparison. So those pesky neighbors just won't complain unless you just don't care, which I wouldn't fault you for whatsoever. Getting into the boot of the ride can be done a few different ways. There's a button to the left-hand side of the steering wheel. You can use the key fob to do it. And then just above the license plate, there's a button there that you can push in order to pop this open instead. There's not really much in the back. There was nothing along the left-hand side. Along the right, since this is the upgraded 12-speaker system, you've got a big woofer in the back. And then, lifting up the little carpeted liner, you're going to find the inflator kit back here. There is the option for a mini spare tire, depending on the build that you've got. But if yours doesn't come with a mini spare, you could always throw one in aftermarket. You could easily unscrew this little styrofoam piece holding the inflator kit, rip that out if you wanted that spare. Then there's also the white spigot, so if you ever need to fill up using a jerry can, you're going there first. This is the convertible version of the ride, which means that the second row seats cannot be folded down, so they are locked into place inside of the convertible. The regular fastback, you can fold them down, but you do get a surprising amount of space inside of the boot of this car. And for the convertible, the way that I've done my measurements, it's from right where the trunk door would close to just in behind the second row seats where those sit. So you do get a good amount of space inside of this car. Filling up fuel inside of the Mustang is done just along the driver's side here. It's an unlocked cover that has a capless system which features anti-siphon technology. Looking at the fuel quality inside of the Mustang, it doesn't matter if you're in the 2.3 liter or the Coyote 5 liter V8. Minimum manufacturer's recommendation is just regular 87, which you can see along the fuel door. Having said that, these are performance cars, so I would recommend at least an 89 octane, but a 91 is the best bet. The horsepower and torque specs are all achieved using a 94 octane. If you want the best possible performance, ask pretty much any Mustang owner. Most of them will use an 89 or a 91. You can get away with an 87 It could lead to engine knocking, but at the same time, if you don't necessarily care, if you're in a pinch, 87's okay. Fuel economy inside of the ride is actually kind of surprising. You're obviously going to get way better economy inside of the EcoBoost version of the car, but you get surprisingly good economy inside of the GT, especially if you're just cruising on a highway. If you're on stop and go traffic or on city streets, it is pretty terrible, but still cruising on highways, it's great. People really love and appreciate these cars and what they have to offer. I don't really blame them. The Mustang is a fantastic car overall, whether you decide to go for the 2.3 because you're new to the Mustang world, or you're in the 5-liter Coyote V8. These cars are a blast. The Mustang has some pretty neat key fob tricks, things like rolling the windows down. There's remote rev that's available too, where you can actually rev the car from the outside by remote starting when you're in the automatic transmission. But if you want to walk through on some of those tricks, you'll find a walkthrough down in the description of this video. You're going to find manual folding, side view mirrors inside of every trim. There's an option for the blind spot monitoring system there too. You're going to find intelligent access. You can tap here in order to lock the doors, slide in order to unlock. Before we get inside here, there's the option for driver seat memory inside of the higher trims of the ride for both the GT and the EcoBoost versions. And then you can see here there's this nice blue highlight that shoots all the way across with some unique stitching. There are 3 different speaker choices available inside of the Mustang. So it's either a 6, a 9, or a 12 speaker system. The scuff plate down here lights up beautifully at night, and it goes nicely with the available puddle lamps there too. I mean, you can see ponies absolutely everywhere. You're gonna find ActiveX seating material. There's cloth seats in the lower trim, but this is beautiful. And inside the car, it's plenty spacious. Like, I'm 6 feet tall, and do I have the seat as far down? Yeah, not even as far down. So you're gonna get somewhat similar headspace in the first row when you look at the ragtop versus the fastback. But I mean, plenty spacious, 3.5, 4 inches of headspace roughly there. It's not bad from a spacing perspective. And then feature-wise back, like inside this car, so many great things. Going to be push button start. Oh, I love that GT growl across the lineup there. But there are so many things. But if you want a full walkthrough, like you want to know how you use the 2 different types of cruise control, you want to know how to go through the cluster screen, the infotainment, etc., you'll find full walkthroughs down in the description of this video. One thing that I love that Ford's done with the available cluster screen here, you go into your My Mustang mode, and you'd have the option of adjusting out your different cluster themes. So you've got your basic normal mode here. There's a dedicated sport mode, track mode, which I mean looks beautiful. Love it. You can go more of like a calming view if you just want things a little bit more simplified, but then you get your classics. Fox body versus the SVT Cobra. So I love that Ford kind of gives you the flexibility of being able to change this around, and you can even have it match your drive mode. So as you move between different drive modes along the steering wheel, it's going to change up. I mean, I love that. Unreal Engine is beautiful, but yeah, as you move through the different drive modes here, it can lock it in to different available drive modes as well. Or cluster views, I should say, too. Just pretty neat. And then there are so many different things that you can do. There are track apps that are available. Drift brake is there, so you're going to find an available handbrake when you get into the GT Performance package. Otherwise, it's just going to be like this little toggle that you can flip. So if you wanted to actually drift, go for the GT Performance pack to get this brake. It is a blast. There's the option for launch control along with line lock. The difference here, line lock, what that's going to do is it's going to essentially hold the car in place. And then you can do burnouts incredibly easily, versus launch control is going to let you launch the vehicle a little bit easier. Rev matching is available there too when you get into the manual transmission. What that means is as you go to shift down, you're going to notice that your RPMs launch up automatically. It just makes it a seamless transition as you go. There are different launch settings that are available here, different options for your aux gauges. So if you wanted to have a slightly different look as you drive, you can change up the color scheme too of not only the displays, but also the available ambient light. So if you wanted to kind of match the color scheme of the car, or you just wanted to create something unique, you'd have that flexibility. There are so many different things. If you go into your custom mode, you can change everything. You can change up the way that the suspension feels, so the damper's there. You can change up the steering. So do you want it to just be normal versus sport? Stiffens things up. Comfort means that you have to throw the wheel a little bit more. You can turn traction control off, adjust out, all of your different modes here too. So, and you can create unique modes. Like there are so many things. You've got wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. It's backwards compatible. There's the option for factory navigation. But if yours doesn't have factory nav, not a problem. Use Android Auto, Apple CarPlay that way. You're going to find heated seats inside of most trim levels of the Mustang. And then when you get into the premium versions, that's when you get into leather seats, well, faux leather seats, I should say, that are ventilated. And the ventilated seats, especially if you're using this as a summer car, are incredibly useful. But yeah, I said full walkthrough is available inside or down in the description of those videos, so you'll find a full walkthrough there. I'd missed the toggles that were available from the S550. The buttons here are nice. I just would love to see the toggles back again. But I like all of the highlights here. So you can see that kind of different material that wraps throughout the steering wheel, flat bottom wheel, which is great, wraps throughout. I mean, it's everywhere throughout the dash. Down low, you've got a few different power points with a 12 volt. The 6-speed is such a blast to drive. It's obviously a pain in stop and go traffic. That's where the auto would come into play. When you look at the GT Auto, you'd also have paddle shifters. The EcoBoost doesn't have paddles whatsoever now. So if you want to walk through on using paddle shifters, when to use them, why you want to use them, etc., you'll find that down below. I love that the GT Performance Pack has the available handbrake. I would love to see this handbrake across the GT lineup though. I think that would just make sense. You've got cup holders there. The armrest here has a good amount of space with another 12 volt, and this thing is actually lockable. So when you enter the valet pin inside of the infotainment system, it actually locks the armrest. There's a fully lockable glove box here. There's a good amount of space inside of that box. One thing I didn't point out though, because this is the convertible, your sunglasses holder is by your knee. If you're in the fastback, you'd have your sunglasses holder up high here instead. But I mean, the convertible, it is nice. It's really nice. There's the option for the auto dimming rearview mirror, home link system. So if you've got a garage door opener at home, it's there. So a ticket receipt holder, vanity mirror with some built-in lights. And then this little feller stretches out a tiny little bit. Not much, it blocks most of the sun though. That's gonna be hitting your face. But I mean, the interior of this car is beautiful. I'm not even gonna attempt the second row. Like the seats are there if you need them. One nice thing is that when you're in the convertible, if you have taller people, if you pop the top open, so if you have the top lower down there, it makes it easier for taller people, but I mean that leg space. This is definitely more of like a two-seater. If you need to talk the misses into it though, you've got all of your anchor points there with the top tethers up high. So you could throw kid seats back here if you really wanted to. I love the stitching that you get here. The headrests are multi-way adjustable. So you can pop them up if you want to. And then you can also tilt them forward on multiple levels if you needed to make it a little bit more comfortable for you. And that's the same driver passenger side. But I've been a huge fan of the Mustang for a long time. There's a huge community for the Mustang. People just really, really love this car. Yeah, the visibility that you get is great. I love driving with the top up there. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. The GT Performance Pack, honestly, like unless you're going to track the Mustang, you're not going to really notice a difference in the overall driving capabilities. This one also has the optional MagneRide system. So MagneRide is that magnetic particle system, which, don't get me wrong, is a phenomenal system. It helps to reduce body roll. But yeah, unless you're tracking it, taking hard corners, etc., you won't notice the difference. But how do you go wrong with that sound? Oh, it's so nice. Beautiful. And the car can just take it. It can take corners very, very well. Getting up to speed there was good. The overall cabin noise, I mean, this is the convertible and it's also the GT. So, I mean, I could switch the exhaust mode to the normal if I wanted to be quiet, if I wanted to make it a little bit quieter, but it's a slightly noisy car. But I mean, you're not getting a Mustang, especially the GT, if you wanted to ride in quiet. If you're looking for a slightly quieter drive, you could look at the EcoBoost Mustang, which I think the EcoBoost is a pretty solid summer car as well, especially if you're just getting into the Mustang world. And that was a look at the Ford Mustang Convertible. This car is an absolute blast. You can find all of the build details for this one down in the description with all of the tech walkthrough videos and links off to Ford Canada and US. But if you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up, share it with someone if you think they might find it helpful. And until I see you next time, take care.